the kind you wear a tie. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says the world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Joining me tonight, we got Rob.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob.
And we got Donnie.
Hey, yo, I'm Donnie.
And we got a very special guest tonight. First time, Mr. Ryan.
Oh, hey.
So, Ryan, the reason we asked you on this evening, we're continuing our D&D class archetype rankings. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Artificer, and you happen to play an Artificer in one of our games.
I do.
So we're going to have you read that one when we get there. And then we're going to just talk a little bit about, what we think of the Artificer class, but mainly the subclasses, and rank them accordingly like we have in previous episodes. So, Rob, why don't you start us off? Because you generally do all of the reading as far as what each class gets as a base.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll dive into the subclasses.
Okay. So, Artificer, quick overview. They're basically like the combination of magic and science class. They can create magic items. They do a lot of tinkering. They have robots. They have Iron Man armor, stuff like that. So basically, they're the tinkerer class. So to start off, you get hit points 1d8 per Artificer level. Your proficiencies you start off with in armor or light armor or medium armor and shields. Simple weapons, thieves' tools, tinkerer's tools, one type of artisan tools of your choice. Your saving throws are Constitution and Intelligence. And you get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, and Sleight of Hand. Secrets of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of the D&D multiverse. If your Dungeon Master uses the rules on firearms, and your Artificer has been exposed to the operation of such weapons, your Artificer is also proficient with them. Equipment. We don't usually do that. So, magical tinkering. At first level, you'll learn how to invest a spark of magic into mundane objects. To use this ability, you must have thieves' tools or artisan tools in hand. You can then touch a tiny, non-magical object, such as an action, and get one of the following magical properties of your choice. The object sheds bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for an additional 5 feet. Whenever tapped by a creature, the object emits a recorded message that can be heard up to 10 feet away. You utter the message when you bestow this property on the object, and the recording can be no more than 6 seconds long. The object continuously emits your choice of an odor or a nonverbal sound, wind, leaves, chirping, or the like. The chosen phenomenon is perceivable up to 10 feet away. A static visual effect appears on the object's surface. This effect can be a picture, up to 25 words of text, lines and shapes, or a mixture of these elements as you like. The chosen property lasts indefinitely. As an action, you can touch the object to end the property early. You can bestow magic on multiple objects, touching one object at a time. You use this feature. But a single object can bear only one property at a time. The maximum number of objects you can affect with this feature at one time is equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1 object. If you try to exceed your maximum, the oldest property immediately ends and the new property applies. Spellcasting. You get spellcasting abilities as an Artificer. I'm not going to go through all the spellcasting stuff. Basically, you have spells. It's goes off your intelligence modifier. You do get ritual casting, and I believe you get up to 5th level spells eventually.
I didn't know this. The tool, like whatever tool you have, is your spellcasting focus as an artificer.
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I saw the
Pretty cool.
tools required section, and I'd never seen that before. So
Infused Item. At second level, you gain the ability to imbue mundane items with certain magical infusions. Magic items you create with these features is effectively prototypes of permanent items. Infusions known. When you gain this feature, pick 4 Artificer infusions to learn, choosing from the Artificer infusion sections at the end of the class description. Learn additional infusions of your choice when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown on the Infusions Known column. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the Artificer infusions you learned with a new one. Infusing an item. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch a non-magical object and imbue it with one of your Artificer infusions, turning it into a magical item. This infusion works on only certain kinds of objects and is specified in the infusion's description. If the item requires attunement, you can attune yourself to it the instant you infuse the item. If you decide to attune to them later, you must do so using the normal process for attunement. Your infusions remains in an item indefinitely, but when you die, the infusion vanishes after a number of days, having passed equal to your intelligence modifier. The infusion also vanishes if you give up your knowledge of the infusion for another one. You can infuse more than one non-magical object at the end of a long rest. The maximum number of objects appears in the infused items column. You must touch each of the objects, and each of your infusions can be in only one object at a time. Moreover, no object can bear more than one of your infusions at a time. If you try to exceed your maximum number of infusions, the oldest infusion immediately ends and the newer one applies. If an infusion ends on an item that contains other things, like a bag of holding, its contents harmlessly appear in the space around it. Artificial Specialist. Artificers pursue many disciplines. Here are the options. So that's what we're going to be discussing, is the specialties, the subclasses. Right tool for the job. At third level, you learn how to produce exactly the tool you need. With Thieves' tools or Artisan tools, you can magically create one set of Artisan tools in an unoccupied space within 5 feet. This creation requires 1 hour of uninterrupted work, which can coincide with a short or long rest. Though the product of magic, tools are non-magical and they vanish when you use this feature again. Ability score improvements you get at 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th. Tool expertise. Starting at 6th level, your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses your proficiency with a tool. Flash of Genius. At 7th level, you gain the ability to come up with solutions under pressure. When you are another creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to add your intelligence modifier to that roll. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once. You gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest, not a short rest, sorry. Magic Item Adept. At 10th level, you achieve profound understanding of how to use magic items. You can turn up to 4 magic items at once. You can craft a magic item with a rarity of common or uncommon. It takes you a quarter of the normal time, and it costs you half as much gold as usual. Spell storing item. At 11th level, you learn how to store a spell in an object. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or one item that you can use as a spellcasting focus, and you can store a spell in it. Choosing 1st or 2nd level spells from the Artificer spell list that require 1 action to cast, you needn't have it prepared. While holding the object, a creature can take an action to produce the spell's effect from it using your spellcasting modifier. As the spell requires concentration, the creature must concentrate. The spell stays in the object until it is needed, until it has been used a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier, minimum of twice, or until you use this feature to store another spell in an object. Magic Item Savant. At 14th level, your skill with magic items deepens more. You can attune up to 5 magical items at once. You ignore all class, race, spell, and level requirements on attuning or using magic items. Magic Item Master. Starting at 18th level, you can attune up to 6 magic items at once. And 20th level, Soul of the Artifice. At 20th level, you develop a mystical connection to your magic items, which you can draw on for protection. You gain a +1 bonus to all saving throws per magic item you are currently attuned to. If you're reduced to 0 hit points but are not killed outright, you can use your reaction to end one of your Artificer infusions, causing you to drop to 1 hit point instead of 0. Artificer infusions. So these are the infusions that you can learn to put on your armor or weapons or magical items. Arcane Propulsion Armor, level 14, a suit of armor. Wear this magical armor gains this benefit. Your walking speed increases by 5 feet. The armor includes gauntlets, each of which is a magical melee weapon that can be wielded only when your hand is holding nothing. The wearer is proficient with these gauntlets, and each one deals 1d8 force damage on a hit. Has a thrown property with a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60. When thrown, the gauntlets detach and flies at your target, then immediately returns to the wearer and reattaches. Your armor can't be removed against the wearer's will. If the wearer is missing any limbs, the armor replaces those limbs, hands, arms, legs, feet, similar appendages, and replaces them functionally identically to the body parts they replace. Armor of Magical Strength. His armor has 6 charges. The wearer can expend the armor's charge in the following ways. When the wearer makes a strength check or strength saving throw, he can expend 1 charge to add a bonus to the roll equal to its intelligence modifier. If the creature would be knocked prone, it can use its reaction to expend 1 charge to avoid being knocked prone. The armor gains 1d6 expended charges daily at dawn. Boots of the Winding Path, 6th level. A pair of boots. While wearing these boots, a creature can teleport up to 15 feet as a bonus action to an unoccupied space the creature can see. The creature must have occupied the space at some point during their current turn. So basically that allows you to go back if you've walked past somewhere in that turn. Enhanced Arcane Focus.
Oh, so that's... I'm sorry. So that last one, that's kind of like a rewind kind of thing?
Yeah, so like say you run up to somebody and attack them, you can use it and then go back to where you were.
Without getting an opportunity attack because it's a teleport.
Yes.
I gotcha. Okay, cool.
But if you didn't move anywhere, then they're useless. They don't do anything.
Gotcha.
Enhanced Arcane Focus. A rod, a staff, or a wand. While holding this item, a creature gets a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls. In addition, the creature ignores half cover when making spell attacks. The bonus increases to +2 when you reach 10th level in this class. Enhanced Defense. A suit of armor or a shield. Creature gains a +1 bonus to armor class while wielding armor or wielding a shield. The infused item, the bonus increases to +2 when you reach 10th level in this class.
Is that cumulative with a magic item that might already have a bonus?
Yeah, because it's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Sorry.
Enhanced Weapon. Well, even the one that Sean does, he can also infuse different parts of his armor. Like he can do the shoulder pads, he can do the wrist thing. Like right. he can like bump up his AC like super high.
God, and then you get crazy saves later on. That's okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Enhanced Weapon. A simple or martial weapon. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack or damage rolls made with it. The bonus increases to +2 when you reach 10th level in this class. Helm of Awareness, level 10 requirement, a helmet. While wearing this helmet, a creature has advantage on initiative rolls. In addition, the wearer can't be surprised, provided they aren't incapacitated. Homunculus Servant. A gem or crystal worth at least 100 gold pieces. You learn intricate methods of magic creating a special homunculus that serves you. The item you infuse serves as the creature's heart, around which the creature's body instantly forms. You determine the homunculus's appearance. Some artificers prefer mechanical-looking birds, whereas some like winged vials or miniature animated cauldrons. The homunculus is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. See the creature's game statistics in the Homunculus Servant stat block, which uses your proficiency bonus in several places. In combat, the homunculus shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction on its own. The only action it can take on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another action. The action can be one of the stat blocks or some other action. If you are incapacitated, the homunculus can take any action of its choice, not just the dodge action. The homunculus regains 2d6 hit points if the mending spell is cast on it, or if your homunculus dies, it vanishes, leaving its heart back in its place. And then it gives the homunculus stat block.
So, is the homunculus... I'm sorry to keep cutting you off here.
No problem.
Is this what Silk and Farum are?
No, it is what Farum was, and then Silk is a robot from the Battlemaster, the Battlesmith subclass.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Farum was a Homunculus Servant, but he became an NPC when Sean wanted to change out that
Gotcha.
infusion, so I NPC'd him instead of just making him be disappeared.
Okay. All right. Gosh, sorry.
What were you going to say, Ryan? I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
I was going to say there's the one key difference is that the homunculus can deliver a spell that has a range of touch, and the Battlesmith's Steel Defender cannot do that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like this is one of the classes overall that I just know the least about, so I may have questions as we go through these. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mind Sharper, a suit of armor or robes. The infused item can send a jolt to the wearer to refocus their mind. The item has 4 charges. When a wearer fails a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on a spell, the wearer can use its reaction to expend one of the item's charges to succeed instead. The item regains 1d4 expended charges daily at dawn. That's a good item.
That is very good.
Imagine having that just
good.
auto-succeeded on a concentration roll.
I was just thinking that. And there's no roll involved or anything. Not a reroll. You just succeed.
Yep.
Those are always nice.
Radiant Weapon, 6th level. A simple or martial weapon. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it. While holding it, the wielder can take a bonus action to cause it to shed bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet. The wielder can extinguish the light as a bonus action. The weapon has 4 charges. As a reaction immediately after being hit by an attack, the wielder can expend 1 charge and cause the attacker to be blinded until the end of its next turn, unless the attacker succeeds on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. The weapon regains 1d4 expended charges at dawn. Repeating Shot. A simple or martial weapon with the ammunition property. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack or damage rolls made with it when it is used to make a ranged attack and ignores the loading property if it has it. If you load no ammunition in the weapon, it produces it on its own, automatically creating 1 piece of magical ammunition when you make a ranged attack with it. The ammunition created by the weapon vanishes the instant it hits or misses the target.
I like that.
Replicate magic item. Using this infusion, you can replicate a particular magic item. You can learn this infusion multiple times. Each time you do, choose a magic item that you can make with it, picking from the replicable items table. A table that tells you the level the item must be in the class to choose an item from the table. Alternatively, you can choose the magic item from among the common magic items in the game, not including potions or scrolls. In the table, the item's entry tells you whether the item requires attunement. See the item's description in the Dungeon Master's Guide for more information. So it has at 2nd level, artificers can recreate the alchemy jug, the bag of holding, cap of water breathing, goggles of night, rope of climbing, sending stones, wand of magical detection, and wand of secrets. At 6th level, they can replicate the boots of Elvenkind, the cloak of Elvenkind, the cloak of the manta ray, the eyes of charming, gloves of thievery, lantern of revealing, pipes of haunting, and ring of water walking. At 10th level, they can replicate the boots of striding and springing, the boots of the winterlands, the bracers of archery, brooch of shielding, cloak of protection, eyes of the eagle, gauntlets of ogre power, gloves of missile snaring, gloves of swimming and climbing, hat of disguise, headband of intellect, helmet of telepathy, medallion of thoughts, necklace of adaptation, parapet of wound closure, pipes of the sewer, quiver of Alona, ring of jumping, ring of mind shielding, slippers of spider climbing, and winged boots. At 14th level, they can recreate the amulet of health, the belt of hill giant strength, the boots of levitation, boots of speed, bracers of defense, cloak of the bat, dimensional shackles, gem of seeing, horn of blasting, ring of free action, the ring of protection, and the ring of the ram.
Okay, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
How mad would you be if in one of my games you decided, hey, I'm going to play an Artificer, they seem pretty overpowered, blah, blah, blah. You make it to 10th
level. If I create the wings
you make it to 10th
boots,
level.
they're full of lava?
Yes. Yes.
Hey. I hate you.
Because I'm letting you know right now, 100% that's what's going to happen.
Moving on. Repulsion shields. Level 6, a shield. The creature gains a +1 bonus to armor class while wielding this shield. The shield has 4 charges. While holding it, the wielder can use a reaction immediately after being hit by a melee attack to expend one of the shield's charges and push the attacker up to 15 feet away. The shield regains 1d4 charges daily at dawn. Resistant armor, 6th level. A suit of armor. While wearing this armor, the creature has resistance to one of the following damage types, which you choose when you infuse the item: acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant, or thunder. Returning weapon. A simple weapon, a martial weapon with the thrown property. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it, and it returns to the wielder's hand immediately after it is used to make a ranged attack. And finally, spell Refueling Ring, 6th level, a ring. While wearing this ring, your creature can recover 1 expended spell slot as an action. The recovered slot can be of 3rd level or lower. Once used, this ring can't be used again until the next dawn. And that's it. That's all the base stuff, which is a ton of shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
None of that's really good.
All right, so I will start off. Now, Ryan, you play a Battlesmith, correct?
Yep.
Oh, you get to go last. Look at you.
Hey, look at me.
I will start off with the Alchemist. So with the Alchemist starting at 3rd level, you get tool proficiency. You gain proficiency with Alchemist supplies. If you already have this proficiency, you gain proficiency with one other type of artisan's tools of your choice. Also at 3rd level, you get Alchemist Spells. You always have certain spells prepared after you reach particular levels in this class, as shown in the Alchemist Spells table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. At 3rd level, you get Healing Word and Ray of Sickness. 5th level, Flaming Sphere and Melf's Acid Arrow. 9th, you get Gaseous Form and Mass Healing Word. 13th level, you get Blight and Death Ward. And 17th level, you get Cloud Kill and Raise Dead. Also at 3rd level, you get Experimental Elixir. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can magically produce an experimental elixir in an empty flask you touch. Roll on the experimental elixir table for the elixir's effect, which is triggered when someone drinks the elixir. As an action, a creature can drink the elixir or administer it to an incapacitated creature. You can create additional experimental elixirs by expending a spell slot of 1st level or higher for each one. When you do so, you use your action to create the elixir in an empty flask you touch. And you choose the elixir's effect from the experimental elixir table. Creating an experimental elixir requires you to have alchemist supplies on your person, and any elixir you create with this feature lasts until it is drunk or until the end of your next long rest. When you reach certain levels in this class, you can make more elixirs at the end of a long rest, 2 at 6th level, 3 at 15th level. Roll for each elixir's effects separately. Each elixir requires its own flask. So, you get to roll a d6, and essentially in order, 1 through 6, the effects that you get a healing elixir, which restores 2d4 plus your intelligence modifier and hit points. Swiftness, the drinker's walking speed increases by 10 feet for 1 hour. Resilience, the drinker gains +1 bonus to AC for 10 minutes. Boldness, the drinker can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to every attack roll and saving throw they make for the next minute. Flight, the drinker gains a fly speed of 10 feet for 10 minutes. And Transformation, the drinker's body is transformed as if by the Alter Self spell. The drinker determines the transformation caused by the spell, the effects of which last for 10 minutes. At 5th level, you get Alchemical Savant. You've developed masterful command of magical chemicals, enhancing the healing and damage you create through them. Whenever you cast a spell using your alchemist supplies as the spell casting focused, you gain a bonus to 1 roll of the spell. That roll must restore hit points or be a damage roll that deals acid, fire, necrotic, or poison damage, and the bonus equals your intelligence modifier minimum of +1. 9th level, you get Restorative Reagents. You can incorporate Restorative Reagents into some of your works. Whenever a creature drinks an experimental elixir you created, the creature gains temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1 temporary hit point. You can also cast Lesser Restoration without expending a spell slot and without preparing the spell, provided you use the Alchemist Supplies as the spellcasting focus. You can do so a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And lastly, at 15th level, you get Chemical Mastery. You've been exposed to so many chemicals that they pose little risk to you, and you can use them to quickly end certain ailments. You gain resistant to acid damage and poison damage, and you are immune to the poison condition. And you can cast Greater Restoration and Heal without expending a spell slot, without preparing the spell, and without material components, provided you use Alchemist Supplies as the spellcasting focus. Once you cast either spell with this feature, you can't cast that spell again. You can't cast that spell with it again until you finish a long rest. I feel like part of chemical mastery, when they're like, yeah, you've been exposed to these chemicals for so long that they pose little risk. It's like, yeah, you fucked up a lot, and we know you've burned yourself with acid so many times that you're just used to it by now.
Yeah, your entire skin is just one big callus now, so
Right.
just don't get burned.
Okay, so what do we think about the Alchemist class? So I'm going to call on you. This is being Ryan's first time. We'll start with Ryan, actually. So as I explained to you earlier, Ryan, S is something that is remotely either game-breaking or could be game-breaking eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, where would you scale the Alchemist class on a scale from S to D? And is there anything that stands out to you about these classes?
Nice. So I'm trying to interpret the subclass while also remembering the base Artificer spell list, which isn't great. It's pretty much the Paladin spell list without most of the smites.
Artificers are they're considered half casters, right?
They're half casters,
Yeah.
and most of the spells are support. There are a couple that are damage, but we're in that campaign. We're what, 7, 8?
Yeah.
And Simon has 2 spells that deal damage. So if he didn't have the good weapon, then But anyways. I like that this gives you a couple of damage spells early to counteract that. Most of the elixir options are good. I mean, there's the one, you can call the Alter Self one, like, that's your, if you roll a 6, you bricked it, and no one's going to use that potion in battle. But
not in battle. That's
not in
a
battle. Utility
spell, yeah.
The rest of them are fantastic. I mean, anybody would be happy with any of those. And when you get down to casting heal for free, I mean, I know it's once, but it's heal for free.
Yeah, it's 70 hit points.
And it's pretty good. So keeping in mind that it somewhat bolsters the spell list, I'd probably give it like an A-.
Okay.
Because it's not, like, when you say the Artificer's overpowered, I don't think it's this subclass that you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I will say there are aspects of the Artificer that I find overpowered just in the base class. The subclasses or the specialist classes for Artificer just kind of add on to it, in my opinion. They make that already semi-overpowered class a bit more overpowered.
Yeah, just as far as, like, since you're a half caster, you obviously want some sort of enhancement to your weapons also, because you're going to have to use them more often than most casters would.
Right.
And this one doesn't particularly do anything in that aspect.
Right.
So the potions are what's special. So that's why I'm thinking low A, high A minus.
Okay. Donnie, what about you?
I kind of agree with everything he just said, except I'm probably going to rank mine a little lower. I'm going to say a B+, but I could maybe be talked into an A-. I feel like there's like identity issues with this specific one. Like, yeah, healing's great, but the rest of the class, like the regular class, I don't feel like that's not the feeling I got from what I was reading and hearing.
Okay.
I think it's great, and I would welcome one in my party. It's like an off healer that can do other stuff too.
Yeah. See, that's exactly what I would consider. I'd consider like this particular type of Artificer being like an off healer. Yeah. All right, Rob, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the our party doesn't have a healer, so guess what, Artificer, you get to be the healer kind of side thing, because like it doesn't really. I mean, I feel like I see what they're doing with it, but it doesn't really fit with the rest, like the main Artificer abilities. This is more like, oh, we're just going to throw in a healing class just because.
Yeah, it feels tacked on, kind of.
Yeah.
It is worth mentioning, though, that Artificers do get Cure Wounds and Revivify.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say they're not effective. I feel like it's I wouldn't feel that I had a solid identity playing this particular one.
Now, as a half caster too, they don't have as many spell slots, correct?
Yeah, it's 4, 3,
end up getting
2.
Yeah, they get 2 5th levels, and then
See,
the rest of it.
When I read this class or this particular subclass for Artificer, I don't even like. I wouldn't even say, oh, hey, your group doesn't have a healer, so this Artificer is going to have to do the job. I more so see this as like, hey, your clerics out of spell slots are running real low on spell slots, so Artificer, you're gonna need to help out. Like, I don't necessarily know that I think this Artificer subclass could be a group's sole healer.
Yeah.
I don't think they could at higher levels, that's for sure. Maybe at lower.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you had 2 of these in one group, then between the pair of them, they could keep a group up, but I don't know. But Rob, what did you want to rank this one, Rob?
I'll go with B+.
All right. So who was about to say? Someone was about.
I was going to say, as far as being the healer, it kind of depends how long you have, because there isn't a limit to the amount of elixirs you can make, right? It's just how many you can make at a time. So you could just make a ton of 2d4 plus 5 health potions, given enough time. But what would really sell me on the Alchemist is if one of the options for the elixirs was a grenade.
Yeah.
The elixirs, you have to expend a spell slot of first level or higher for each one.
But they don't expire.
Yeah, until your next long rest.
Okay.
Yeah, the elixir you create with this feature lasts until it is drunk or until the next long rest. And it takes a spell slot to make one?
Well, I think... No, that's additional ones. So you can make the one for free, and then it's a first level.
You get one for free, and then if you want to make more, it's a spell slot.
But at level 15, you make 3 for free, and then you can make an additional one for a first level spell slot. So 4 at the cost of 1 spell slot. It's better than Cure Wounds. But
yeah, assuming that you get a 1 on all of those.
I wish that one of them... I don't know if they would have to make it a D8, or if they would replace one. I just wish one of the potions was offensive, even if it's 2d4.
Yeah. Man, I'm going to be a little harsh on this because, I mean, keeping in mind that we're ranking just the subclasses and not necessarily the class itself. Because yes, I do think the Artificer is very strong as a class. I'm gonna be the outlier here. I'm gonna give this one. I think I'm gonna give this subclass a C. I'm really not. There's nothing that really super stands out to me about this class. This subclass. I think the most beneficial thing is at 15th level where you can cast the heal for free once a day, essentially.
Yeah.
You
know what? You've kind of slightly convinced me.
Oh no.
No, so
it happens.
Here's the thing. The Battlesmith is better than this class. There are times playing the Battlesmith where I feel like I'm doing nothing.
Right.
And this class is not as good as that. I feel like leveling this to get to 15th where you get free heal would probably not be as enjoyable.
Right.
So I'll probably drop down to a B.
Alright. I'll drop you down to a B then.
You're right, this is an S.
Jesus. Donnie, are you sticking with your original assessment of B+?
See, if I'm just ranking the subclass without considering how good the base class is, I might actually say a C, but I do feel that there needs to be some consideration for their tool set before this.
Yeah, because especially, I mean, if the tool set complements the subclass, then the subclass is going to do the same and complement the class.
Right.
And
I don't feel like this complements the class.
That's exactly.
I think it's nice to have a utility caster that can also heal a little. That's nice. It's like a little extra frosting on top, but it's not. I don't like the identity that this would give you as much as I would like to play an Alchemist.
Okay, so are you changing?
I'm gonna say a B+. No, I'm gonna say B+.
Well, okay, so you're staying B+. Rob, are you staying at the B?
I said B+.
B+.
But I was taking into account the full Artificer class, though, which you said you were not. So. But that's how I've judged all of them. So that's how I would order them.
I mean, that's fine. I know that we're here to rank the subclasses themselves. So like, unless it's something that really makes the class as a whole stand out and shine by itself, like if they're like super complementary, then I'll consider that. But I feel like this doesn't bring anything overly special to the Artificer class. All right, so with our rankings, Rob, what's our overall with a B, 2 B pluses, and a C?
It's either B or B-. All
right, I'll just say it's a B. So our overall for the Alchemist is a B. Donnie, why don't you read Armorer for us?
All right. Sorry, my computer's loading.
Well, I never.
Well, it might be crashing. Hold on. I've got a white screen. Okay, here we are. Let's see. Tools of the Trade. When you adopt this specialization at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with heavy armor. You also gain... Am I reading the right one?
Yep.
Okay. You also gain proficiency with the Smith's tools. If you already have this tool proficiency, you gain proficiency with one other type of artisan's tools of your choice. At 3rd level, you get armor or spells. You always have certain spells prepared after you reach particular levels in this class, as shown in the armor or spells table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. So at 3rd level, you have Magic Missile and Thunder Wave.
Already the best Artificer class. they get Magic Missile.
Webby, your bias is showing.
Sorry.
5th level, Mirror Image and Shatter. 9th level, Hypnotic Pattern, Lightning Bolt. 13th, Fire Shield and Greater Invisibility. 17th, Pass Wall and Wall of Force. It's a pretty good list, I think.
I don't remember. Has Sean ever used Magic Missile?
I believe so.
I think he did one time just because I asked him to. Or he's like, Mernon, this is for you, and then he does it.
I feel like
I think that happened. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Alright, so at 3rd level, Arcane Armor. Your metallurgic pursuits have led you to making armor a conduit for your magic. As an action, you can turn a suit of armor you are wearing into arcane armor, provided you have smith's tools in hand. You gain the following benefits while wearing this armor. If the armor normally has a strength requirement, the arcane armor lacks this requirement for you. You can use the arcane armor as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells. The armor attaches to you and can't be removed against your will. It also expands to cover your entire body, although you can retract or deploy the helmet as a bonus action. The armor replaces any missing limbs, functioning identically to a body part it is replacing. You can doff or don the armor as an action. The armor continues to be arcane armor until you don another suit of armor or you die.
Jesus. Okay.
Armor model. Beginning at 3rd level, you can customize your arcane armor. When you do so, choose one of the following armor models: Guardian or Infiltrator. The model you choose gives you special benefits while you wear it. Each model includes a special weapon. When you attack with that weapon, you can add your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dexterity to the attack and damage rolls. That's cool. You can change the armor's model whenever you finish a short or long rest, provided you have the smith's tools in hand. Guardian. You design your armor to be in the front line of conflict. It has the following features. Thunder Gauntlets. Each of the armor's gauntlets counts as a simple melee weapon while you aren't holding anything in it, and it deals 1d8 thunder damage on a hit. A creature hit by the gauntlet has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn, as the armor magically emits a distracting pulse when the creature attacks someone else. Defensive Field. As a bonus action, you can gain temporary hit points equal to your level in this class, replacing any temporary hit points you already have. You lose these temporary hit points if you doff the armor. You can use the bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Infiltrator. You customize your armor for subtle undertakings. It has the following features. Lightning Launcher. A gem-like node appears on one of your armored fists or on the chest. It counts as a simple ranged weapon with a normal range of 90 feet and a long range of 300 feet, and it deals 1d6 lightning damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns when you hit a creature with it, you can deal an extra 1d6 lightning damage to that target. Okay. Powered Steps. Your walking speed increases by 5 feet. Dampening Field. You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. If the armor normally imposes disadvantage on such checks, the advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out as normal. At 5th level, they get extra attack. You can attack twice rather than once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Armor modifications. At 9th level, you learn how to use your Artificer infusions to specifically modify your arcane armor. The armor now counts as separate items for the purposes of your Infused Item feature. Armor, the chest piece, boots, helm, and the armor's special weapon. Each of those items can bear one of your infusions, and the infusions transfer over if you change your armor's model with the armor model feature. In addition, the maximum number of items you can infuse at once increases by 2, but those extra items must be part of your arcane armor. Perfected Armor. At level 15, your arcane armor gains additional benefits based on its model, as shown below. Guardian. When a huge or smaller creature you can see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to magically force the creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC, pulling the creature up to 30 feet towards you to an unoccupied space. If you pull the target to a space within 5 feet of you, you can make a melee weapon attack against it as part of the reaction. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. Infiltrator. Any creature that takes lightning damage from your lightning launcher glimmers with a magical light until the start of your next turn. The glimmering creature sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius and has disadvantage on attack rolls against you as the light jolts it if it attacks you. In addition, the next attack roll against it has advantage, and if that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d6 lightning damage.
Okay, so ultimately this is the Iron Man
Yeah.
Artificer. Then.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's start with Rob on this one. Rob, do you have anything that stands out to you that you want to talk about, or before you give a grade?
I hate it.
You hate DMing for it.
Yes, as a DM, I rank this S+++ game breaking.
Really?
Yeah.
He has a hard time dealing with Sean.
Yeah, with his AC so high because he can add so many infusions to his armor, and then he has Flash of Genius to avoid any kind of...
Oh, wait, but what's his AC?
I don't know. 28?
Oh, and what's Ryder's AC get up to?
28 if
Oh,
he uses
huh.
shield.
Huh.
Now hold
Yeah,
on.
but Sean just has a 28, and then he has shield on top of that.
Wait,
Okay, that's fucking insane.
how does he have that?
See, I don't think he has 28 without the...
Could
use of
only
shield.
infuse +2 once.
No, it allows you to do it twice, specifically for this armor.
But you can only infuse each infusion once. So at most he can do +2 to AC on the armor and +1 on a shield. I don't know.
Rob's like, I'll have to go revisit Sean's character sheet now.
Well, no, because I thought you could do the same infusions more than once. It just can't be, you just have a certain number.
Let me double check.
Oh, this is going to end badly one of two ways. Either Sean's going to find out his AC can't be that high, or Simon's going to find out his AC can be higher.
Yeah, okay, here. You can infuse more than one non-magical object at the end of a long rest. The maximum number of objects appears in the column of the table. You must touch each of the objects, and each of your infusions can be in only one object at a time.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sounds right.
So if his arcane armor is made out of full plate, being 18 plus 3, so 21.
Plus the normal the normal AC that a shield would give you if he has a shield, so that's 2 more.
Yeah.
That's
23.
And then you can
24
infuse a shield, right?
If you infuse this, 24 if you infuse the shield.
And then 29 if you use shield.
If you shield, yeah.
And that's still fucking amazing, especially considering they're not... Well, I don't know what level they are now, but I don't think they're like super high level.
Well, you have to be 15 for all the parts to, or 9 for all the parts to separate. So
yeah,
that's pretty good.
All right. So from a non-DM bias, Rob, what would you rank the armorer?
I'd say A.
I am going to put S++++++++ DM bias. So A, you said? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Donnie, what do you think?
We'll go with the A too. I think they're giving you tools to play your role well.
All right. Ryan, what about you?
Okay, so I do think this is one of the better ones, partly because of the armor, but also the spell list. Because again, you're getting damage spells early, and you'll see when we get to Battlesmith that it's 4 defensive spells all at the beginning. But not that those are bad, but there's certain situations where you don't need an entire base spell list of support spells and then more support spells. But I do think this is one of the better ones. I would also say A. Assuming you could figure something spicy or interesting to do with the armor weapon attacks, which I was working on before.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with all of you. I think it's going to be a straight A across the board.
Great A's. I just looked up Sean's. He only has the thing on his armor, the AC. He's only 24. It's just with shield he gets up to 29.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Go extremely high.
And what does Ryder get with shield? Sorry.
Without his reflection, his AC is a 21, so he'd be a 26.
But you have a reflection up 90% of the time in combat, so
So it'll be 28. One less than Sean. Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
just throwing that out there. I'm just saying. You think Sean is a hellscape to DM for? Now you know how I feel with you sometimes, Rob. And we've already dialed your character back like twice.
Yeah.
It would be even more busted if we didn't.
Plus, he has great armor, and I have studded leather.
Hey, Gambit wears studded leather.
What's Gambit's AC?
Yeah, what is?
I don't know what it is anymore. It's pretty high.
I think Gambit could get up to 30.
Gambit can break 30. Yeah.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
All right, so that averages out to be an A across the board for the Armorer.
yeah, if you can fly, the Infiltrator is definitely better. Just saying.
Now, I was going to say, while we're trying to buy a little bit of time for Rob to get back, because he's reading the next one, if you guys were going to play the Armorer, which one would you play, the Infiltrator or the Guardian?
I'd play Guardian. And even because I think it's better, I just feel like it's thematically, like you can stick to a theme with it and go full tank.
Since you can switch whenever you take a short or long rest, I would Guardian going into what I knew was a large battle with a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about it. You're right.
Wait, you can change between them?
Yeah.
Whoa.
During a short, or when you finish a short rest, you literally just tap it and it's done.
Wait, where is this at? Where does this?
Yeah.
Right where it's before Guardian.
You can change the armor's model whenever you finish a short or long rest. Oh man, Jesus.
Yeah,
That's pretty nice.
I'm going to fight Balagos. Well, now I have a suit of armor that I can get 20 temp HP 5 times during this battle.
You're still going to die if you're fighting him.
I'm changing my grade to an A+.
But just saying, 20 temp HP 5 times during the same battle.
Yeah,
maybe not Balagos, but
Yeah, your point is a solid point. I don't mean to discredit the points. Just your opponent is not a fair opponent.
I mean, that's also something that Ryder does every time he casts his reflection. He's giving other people too.
Yeah.
Temp HP.
But
I'll never forget the first time I saw a rider go inside another guy.
Yeah, he doesn't have that ability anymore.
That wasn't Ryder, that was Quill.
That was Quill.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's playing the same class, just not the same archetype for that class.
Never mind. I take it back.
That said, though, if you're fighting 80 goblins, like if you're playing Rob's game, and you're getting swarmed by 80 goblins, and you happen to be a creature with wings, you now have a non-ammo ranged weapon that you can fire from the sky.
Bro, that's the first thing I thought when I read that part, is I can do my hand crossbow expert now.
See, I mean, I didn't even pick up on the fact that you could switch back and forth between Guardian and Infiltrator. Mm-hmm. I thought you had to choose one or the other. So, yeah, mine changed to an A+. Not that changes the overall, but...
And also, Infiltrator can carry sharpshooter feat, because it's a simple ranged weapon.
Oh, man. Ryan, remind me after we're done recording. I want you to say that. I want you to tell them that fucking combo you told me earlier with the ranged weapon there, with the longbow. All right, Rob, why don't you go ahead and read Artillerist for us?
Okay. I actually played this one in Devin's game, who for some strange reason you thought was a hooker.
Listen, I found out it was your Star Wars character that was the prostitute.
Characters have been
Allegedly.
prostitutes.
You've been accused and not proven innocent or guilty.
Oh, boy. All right, the Artillerist. Third level, tool proficiency. You gain proficiency with woodcarver's tools. If you already have this proficiency, you gain proficiency with one other artisan tool of your choice. Artillerist spells. You always have certain spells prepared. After you reach particular levels in the class is shown on the Artillerist spell list. So third level, you get Shield and Thunder Wave. Fifth level, you get Scorching Ray and Shatter. Ninth level, you get Fireball and Wind Wall. 13th level, you get Ice Storm and Wall of Fire. And 17th level, you get Cone of Cold and Wall of Force. Eldritch Cannon. At third level, you've learned how to create a magical cannon using woodcarver's tools or smith's tools. You can take an action to magically create a small or tiny Eldritch Cannon in an occupied space or on a horizontal surface within 5 feet of you. A small Eldritch Cannon occupies its space, and a tiny one can be held in one hand. Once you create a cannon, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest or until you spend a spell slot to create one. You can have only one cannon at a time, and you cannot create one while your other cannon is present. The cannon is a magical object. Regardless of size, the cannon has an AC of 18 and a number of hit points equal to 5 times your Artificer level. It is immune to poison damage and psychic damage. If it is forced to make an ability check or saving throw, treat all of its ability scores as 10. If the mending spell is cast on it, it regains 2d6 hit points. It disappears if it is reduced to 0 hit points or after 1 hour. You can dismiss it early as an action. When you create the cannon, you determine its appearance and whether it has legs. You also decide which type it is, choosing from the options in the Eldritch Cannon table. On each of your turns, you can take a bonus action to cause the cannon to activate if you are within 60 feet of it. As part of the same bonus action, you can direct the cannon to walk or climb up to 15 feet to an unoccupied space, provided it has legs. Eldritch Cannon types. Flamethrower. Cannon exhales fire in an adjacent 15-foot cone that you designate. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw versus your spell save DC, taking 2d8 fire on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. The fire ignites any flammable objects that are in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Force Ballista. You make a ranged spell attack originating from the cannon at one creature or object within 120 feet of it. On a hit, the target takes 2d8 force damage, and if the target is a creature, it is pushed up to 5 feet away from the cannon. And Protector. Cannon emits a burst of positive energy that grants itself and each creature of your choice within 10 feet of it a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your intelligence modifier. 5th level, Arcane Firearm. You know how to turn a wand, staff, or rod into an arcane firearm, a conduit for your destructive spells. When you finish a long rest, you can use woodcarver tools to carve special sigils into the wand, staff, or rod, and thereby turn it into your arcane firearm. The sigils disappear from the object if you later carve them onto a different item. The sigils otherwise last indefinitely. You can use your arcane firearm as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells. When you cast an Artificer spell through the firearm, roll a d8. You gain a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled. Explosive Cannon, 9th level. Every Eldritch Cannon you create is more destructive. The cannon's damage rolls all increase by 1d8. As an action, you can command the cannon to detonate if you are within 60 feet of it. Doing so destroys the cannon and forces each creature within 20 feet of it to make dexterity saving throws against your spell save DC, taking 3d8 force damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. And 15th level, Fortified Position. You are master at forming well-defended emplacements using Eldritch Cannons. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a cannon you created with Eldritch Cannon as a result of a shimmering field of magical protection that the cannons emit. You can now have 2 cannons at the same time. You can create 2 of the same with the same action, but not the same spell slot, and you can activate both of them with the same bonus action. You determine whether the cannons are identical to each other or different. You can't create a third cannon while you have 2.
Okay. So, with that, like the Protector Cannon does not do anything offensive. It's purely defensive, correct?
Yes. I used that to save the people that we were
Right.
in the game. If you remember, I put
Yeah.
it in the tent and kept giving them 10 hit points.
Okay.
But yeah,
Let's start with Donnie this time.
Minus.
Wow, I didn't hear the letter. What?
Minus.
All I keep hearing is minus.
B minus.
B minus. Okay. Why a B minus, Donnie?
I like it a lot thematically, but I don't see anything that's really. I don't know. It's solid. I don't think. I'm gonna say a B. Let me go up to a B. It's solid, but it doesn't do anything that like super stands out. I love pet builds, so I do like the idea of having like 2 cannons out. But I don't think it's like the strongest build I've ever seen.
Okay. Ryan, what about you?
All right, so here comes my differing opinion.
Okay.
We welcome those.
We do.
As a battlesmith who also has a pet that cannot explode, nor can it do dragon breath or a ranged spell attack or temp HP, this is at least an A+. Because Fireball, it's got Fireball, it's got a baby dragon, basically, that can explode, that costs nothing to make other than a first level spell slot. And then you eventually get 2 that can explode. And, oh yeah, also every time you cast a spell, you can just add a D8. I
can see what you're saying.
Now, I will say it's not as good as Fireball.
No, they also
you had the spell Fireball is one of the spells.
Oh, God.
Simon will never have Fireball. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about when the cannon explodes.
No, but
right.
I mean, it's still it's 3d8 force damage, and if you have 2, and you can command them to take the same action at the same time, it's 6d8.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, so you're giving it an A+ for that reason. Donnie, does that sway you at all, or are you sticking with your B?
I'm gonna stay with a B.
All right.
I think it's good. I don't mean it's bad when I say B.
Right. Yeah. Rob, what about you? What are your thoughts here?
I will give it an A because I had a lot of fun playing it, even though it was like 2 sessions. But I enjoyed it for the short time I got to play it.
Okay. Now, I have a question. Now, I'm assuming you can't put any of your infusions on your cannon, right? Because that's a magically created thing.
right.
So,
yeah, I would say no. You can, however, put things on your freaking gun, your arcane firearm, and make it more powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so what I'm going to say, I'm going to also go with a B. I feel like this is thematically, it seems like a really fun archetype to play. It seems like a very good archetype and strong. Its spell list is great. I might go B+. I just feel like everything about this archetype stands alone. Almost like the only thing that you could look, if you read this archetype, the only reason you'd know it was from an Artificer is because you need the smith's tools or whatever it is. You need to make the cannons, but I don't feel like there's anything that adds to the class itself. Like, it's making the Artificer class itself better because you have an expanded spell list, things like that. But I don't think there's much in the way of synergy between the base class and the archetype, if that makes sense.
Well, let me ask you this: what other class do you see having cannons running around?
Okay, well, on that subject, I do have something to add, but I don't want to interfere in a point you're trying to make, Rob.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, that's also where I feel like that stands, like, the Artillerist stands by itself. Like, kind of like, okay, so how, like, the Armorer, okay, with the Armorer, you can make this arcane armor, and then you could put infusions on different parts of your armor, you know, so that there's synergy there with the base Artificer class.
No, I know, but you're saying like this doesn't fit with the base Artificer class.
No, I'm not
what
saying that
other
it doesn't
class would you say?
fit. I'm just saying there's no synergy. Like, I don't think that there's anything that the Artillerist... I don't know how to put my words together about this.
I know what you're saying. I understand what you mean.
Then help me out, because I don't know how... I'm losing my train of thought. Like, I'm losing why...
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it builds on what is already existing with the Artificer. It feels like like I said earlier, it's something that's added on. I do feel like it's good. What is being added on is good.
Well, I mean, technically, if you're going to go with that, the only one that fits perfectly is the armor, because the Alchemist doesn't add anything to the.
I also gave the
and neither
Alchemist.
does.
I also gave the Alchemist a B, though.
I know, but I'm just saying that none of these, if that's your criteria, I don't think Battlesmith is going to match up to it either. The only one that really does is Armorer.
Well, it's not necessarily a criteria. It's a critique that I have. Like, I don't know how to formulate my words properly.
I have a counter question for you then, Webby.
Okay.
If this
I do like cannons, though. I will say
if this subclass doesn't add or it stands alone from the Artificer, then what does the Artificer do? That's in your opinion, what does the Artificer do?
Okay, you've painted me in a corner because my instant thought was, well, artificers build things, but this class is building cannons, which is good, which is the point Rob's trying to make.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I see what you're saying.
My thing is you could have a fighter. Say you had a fighter. You could have a fighter artillerist, and you would get everything from this artillerist class. And it would feel the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this being an artificer, I don't feel like there's anything under the artificer itself that's making this subclass stand out as an artificer subclass, other than, I guess, the cannons. But, you know, if you gave a fighter this subclass, it would be just as good.
Well, except for the arcade firearm. You wouldn't be able to use that.
I mean, yeah, fair. Okay. I mean, you got me on that one, because that is for, rods and staves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or wands, rods, and staves, something like that.
A wand, rod, or staff that gets a plus D8, and then you can infuse it to get +2 spell attack rolls.
Yeah.
That's really good. I don't...
Yeah.
I kind of have the same gripe Webby has. I don't feel like it's building upon what's already existing. It's just, it's added, which is, what it's adding is good.
Well, but that's my point, though. Like, the Alchemist, the Artillerist, and the Battlesmith are all going to be not building upon the base.
I guess you guys are right. I mean, an Artificer, I guess that's just the shtick of the Artificer class is it just compounds things. It just adds more things. Like, oh, I don't have magic items, now I can make myself magic items. Oh, I don't have bonuses to certain equipment, I'll just make infusions and give myself bonuses. So I guess they are relatable. I guess they just don't. They don't.
No, I get it. It's like they don't use, none of it uses intelligence or
except
anything,
for
and
the
none
armorer.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
None of it, like the infusion, you can't put infusions in any of it. Like, it's like, the Artificer doesn't, like,
the Arcane
improve
Firearm
this in any way.
Yeah, the Arcane Firearm is the only thing about this subclass that can be improved by being an Artificer, essentially.
Mm-hmm. So, while we were talking about, I just went back and I looked at the base class. And outside of Flash of Genius, they don't do anything. I believe that this is a support class. I believe this is a paladin, but a wizard. Because it's essentially the same spell list and the same sort of half-caster support thing. But the base class is so generic as to allow these things to be plugged into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the subclasses are so much standalone as they are literally half of the puzzle.
Right.
Because the whole class is just you can attune to more magic items and they protect you. But there's, some class, like wizards and, they get stuff. Sorcerers get meta magic on the base class and stuff like that. Artificers just get more items and the ability to infuse, which is good, but I think it leaves a lot of space for these criminally short list of subclasses to be plugged in.
I will say I'm very concerned that the Artificer has been out for a little while now and that they have not added a new subclass.
There were a couple of Unearthed Arcana ones, but I don't think they made...
Yeah.
So
it's because when they try them out, they're like, "Oh God, this is fucking OP."
Yeah,
Bye.
I feel like they're most likely running into an issue where no matter what they try to come up with, everything just seems a bit on the upscale of power. And if they try to make it more balanced, anything that is quote unquote balanced seems unimpressive
compared to what's already there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think maybe there's an explosives expert hiding somewhere.
Or
a grenade or something.
You guys have changed my opinion. I'm going from a B to an A minus. You guys did, they do have cannon. I love cannons. When I think of something like a mechanical construct running around, it does scream Artificer to me. They do seem like the tinkerers of D&D. But like the idea of like that I could not get across earlier, this particular one just does not seem symbiotic with the base class. At least not as much as the armorer. And like Rob said, maybe none of them are going to seem that well, that well connected as the armorer.
I would have liked to see other archetypes before. Yeah, I guess the theme they went for.
So Rob, what's my overall here? I got an A minus, an A plus, and a B.
It's gonna be like A minus.
All right.
If they were full casters, I probably would have said A plus. Honestly, if they were full casters, they wouldn't be allowed at any.
I just mean for like the explosive cannon deal. Like as a half caster, I'm not comfortable using that very often because it's gonna just completely drain your spell slots like so fast. So it's like, yeah, you have it, but you're not going to use it all the time, so you're left with your other ones.
So I'm not changing my answer, but I kind of agree with Webby as far as it doesn't feel like it mixes with anything. But I will also say that all of these features feel like they could be the base class for Artificer, and all the magic item extra attunement stuff could be a subclass.
Yeah. Yep.
And it would be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to Battlesmith, Ryan. This is what you play. So I'll let you read Battlesmith to us.
All right. So tool proficiency. When you adopt this specialization at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with smith's tools. If you already have this proficiency, you gain proficiency with one other type of artisan's tools of your choice. Battlesmith spells. Starting at 3rd, you always have certain spells prepared. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare, which is important because you, like I said, are technically a paladin. You have the whole list, and you can only prepare, like, a couple. So 3rd level, Heroism and Shield. 5th level, Branding Smite and Warding Bond. 9th level, Aura of Vitality and Conjure Barrage. 13th level, Aura of Purity and Fire Shield. 17th level, Banishing Smite and Mass Cure Wounds. Battle Ready. When you reach 3rd level, your combat training and your experiments with magic have paid off in 2 ways. You gain proficiency with martial weapons. When you attack with a magic weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dex for the attack and damage roll. Steel Defender. By 3rd level, your tinkering has born you a faithful companion as Steel Defender. It is friendly to you and your companions, and it obeys your commands. See its game statistics in the Steel Defender stat block, which uses proficiency bonus in several places. You determine the creature's appearance and whether it has 2 legs or 4. Your choice has no effect on game stats. In combat, the defender shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another action. The action can be one in its stat block or some other action. If you're incapacitated, the defender can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. If the Mending spell is cast on it, it regains 2d6 hit points. If it has died within the last hour, you can use your Smith's tools as an action to revive it, provided you are within 5 feet of it and you expend a spell slot of 1st level or higher. Steel Defender returns to life after 1 minute with all its hit points restored. At the end of a long rest, you can create a new Steel Defender if you have Smith's tools with you. If you already have a Defender from this feature, the first one immediately perishes. The Defender also perishes if you die. Then we have stats, and the notable things are it has a melee spell attack, it can repair itself, and it can impose disadvantage on the attack roll of a creature that it can see that it is within 5 feet of, other than itself. 5th level, extra attack. You can attack twice rather than once when you take the attack action on your turn. At 9th level, Arcane Jolt. You learn new ways to channel your arcane energy to harm or heal. When either you hit a target with a magic weapon attack or your Steel Defender hits a target, you can channel magical energy through the strike to create one of the following effects. Either the target takes an extra 2d6 force damage, or choose one creature or object you can see within 30 feet of the target. Healing energy flows into the chosen recipient, restoring 2d6 hit points to it. You can use this energy a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, but you can do so no more than once on a turn. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And at 15th level, Improved Defender. At 15th level, your Arcane Jolt and Steel Defender become more powerful. The extra damage and the healing of your Arcane Jolt both increase to 4d6. Your Steel Defender gains a +2 bonus to AC, and whenever your Steel Defender uses its Deflect attack, which is the imposing disadvantage, the attacker takes force damage equal to 1d4 plus your intelligence modifier.
Huh. All right. Ryan, you know what? Let's start with you. You play this class. What are your thoughts on this class?
Yes, I do play this class. The Defender is good. From a roleplay perspective, the Defender has had uses. I find myself wishing that he could explode. Okay, so, fine. A melee spell attack, and it can impose disadvantage. As a reaction, by the way. So only once a turn. But the other class can Dragon Breath? But anyways, it gets up to a maximum of 17 AC for the Defender at level 15, which is, it's fine. I like the Arcane Jolt. I haven't had a chance to play that yet because we are level 8.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's going to feel very nice with my sword.
I like the idea that is you get to use either extra damage or a heal from that.
Yeah. And that factors into what I'm saying about the Artificer being a wizard paladin.
Right.
This just reads support class to me. While the Artillerist kind of reads more of a of a fighter with the ability to heal with a couple spells. Battle Ready is great. At level 1, I had a +5 to attack and damage rolls with my weapon because I was using my int, which is also the spell cap, which is good. That it's both your attack and damage rolls and your spells all come off of the same stat, so you don't have to worry about if you rolled poorly or if you're using standard array. You just have to focus on intelligence.
Right.
Like I said, the defender is fine. Extra attack is great, especially once you get Arcane Jolt. It's probably gonna be just a solid like B to B plus for me.
Okay.
Because all of the spells, granted, I chose to be this one for character reasons. Because this is what Simon would be.
I will say, I started reading Warding Bond, and I was just like, oh, that's dope. How come Simon doesn't cast that on me more often? And then I was like, oh, because he would take damage too. I get it.
Yeah. As far as the spell, like, Simon did this because that's his whole thing. He's on a quest to protect his entire people and figure out why they have this curse on them, so his whole thing is he's protecting.
Right.
If he didn't have that backstory, he'd probably be an artillerist.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying B.
I will say, I never knew that Silk could understand us when we talked. Otherwise, I might have more conversations with Silk.
Well, you can try, you just can't talk back.
Yeah. Rob, what do you think about this particular subclass?
I'd give it an A minus. Maybe B plus, but I lean more towards the A minus because Simon is also difficult to hit. But note self kill off Simon before he gets Arcane Jolt.
Well, then you really shouldn't let me buy full plate then. Simon only has scale mail.
You're still the hardest to hit out of everybody.
Only a 25 with shield is up, right?
Yeah, only.
Man, I think Pebble's AC is the worst when he's not wild shaped. I think my AC is like a 15.
Yeah, the average I think of everybody is like a 16.
So, all right, Donnie, what's your thoughts on the Battlesmith?
Say a B.
B.
Yeah. This is what's called a Gish character. I feel it's a caster that melees as well, and I think there's other ones that do that a little bit better.
Okay.
But it is tankier than a lot of those. So yeah, B.
You know what? I'll go with B plus too. Which I think will bring the average to a B plus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind this one. Like, I like this one and all. I like the versatility with like the Arcane Jolt ability. Honestly, I think Rob hit it on the head as far as what I was trying to convey before. The Armorer is the only one that I feel that synergizes well with the Artificer base class stuff. I don't hate any of these builds. Like there's not a subclass for the Artificer that I dislike. I will say, if I ever chose to be, say, the Alchemist, the Battlesmith, the Artillerist, one of those three, I most likely would end up multi-classing to try to fill in some of the gaps where I feel it was lacking. The Armorer, I'm not necessarily sure that I would. I might try to bring that to level 20, but even then, most likely I would find if I rolled an Artificer, this would end up being the whole reason why I hate, multi-classing into Warlocks. I feel like Artificer would just better benefit from multi-classing into something else for X amount of levels. I think they bring a lot of good stuff to the table, but I think they benefit greatly for multi-classing into something else.
This is one of the few times that me and Webby don't agree on something on that. I think I'd go to the max 20 just because of the 20th capstone.
Really?
Yeah. You can attune to 6 items and you're getting a +1 to your saves for every one.
Yeah.
Not to mention, that is very strong to me. Like if it's a game 220, that is incredibly strong.
And you can, it won't work on your own death saving throws, but you can give others a +5 to their death saves, which is pretty great. But, yeah. But all of your other saves are +5. So. And
the whole ending and infusion to keep 1 health.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of good stuff, I feel like, and that's level 20.
Lives.
Yeah. I mean, me and Ryan talked about this a bunch earlier about how hard it would be to kill an Artificer. But I don't know. I tend to make characters more for thematic purposes.
Yeah.
And I will say the characters, I genuinely don't care to multiclass. I like to pick a character. A lot of the characters that I choose to play are characters that I would bring to level 20, with the exception of very few. If, honestly, we say this, we mention it at least once in every of these fucking ranking subclass episodes. The Bard level 20 capstone is dog shit. So if you roll up a Bard, that's perfect. Bards are awesome. I have a Bard. I loved playing my Bard. Multi-class a couple levels into something else.
Yep.
Okay, even if it's 2 levels into Rogue. Okay, you're gonna get cunning action, this, that, and the other thing. You're not gonna regret it. Do it early. I don't know.
It feels weird. As far as Battlesmith goes, I know I've said it 18 times. It could literally say, I'm kind of agreeing with what you said earlier about nothing fitting. It could literally say Channel Divinity in front of Steel Defender. And I wouldn't have thought anything. I would have thought it was just... Because it's kind of written like a Paladin subclass.
I mean, kind of.
And then they have a smite.
Yeah, they get 2 smites.
Yeah. They also get Aura of Vitality, which was originally specifically a Paladin spell.
But here, now see, that just comes into my problem when I was playing Gil. Everything that I wanted to do, I either had to give up my attack because it was an action spell, which I had 2 of. So I would have had to give up my 2 attacks to do an action spell. Or, in this case, all of these Paladin spells are bonus actions for the most part.
Yep.
And when you use them, your Steel Defender is just going to stand there boo, and it's not going to do anything.
It'll at least take the dodge action.
Yeah, and I know that, when we play, you let us just say, I tell Silk to kill our enemies, and then we just assume that applies going forward, but, rules as written, you're giving up a lot to cast one of these
I've never
spells.
liked that.
Yeah.
It's actually better for you to knock yourself out, because then the Steel Defender grows a brain and will actually do its own thing. I don't know. I know that it's that way to balance pets. It's just goofy that this robot would just stand there and stare at you.
Yeah, while one person has you in a full Nelson, the other person's pummeling you in the stomach, the robot's just sitting there staring. What do I do? You're not telling me what to
weird.
do.
What are they doing?
Sorry, Dad, you smited this turn. I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. You're right. Well, those are the 4 Artificer ranks. We ended up getting 2 A's and 2 B's, essentially. There's the Alchemist earned a B, the Armorer earned an A, the Artillerist earned an A-, and the Battlesmith earned a B+. So... and we are right around... Is there anything else anybody would like to say about the Artificer? With the exception of, what was it, Tony Stork?
Tony Stork, the Aarakocra, the Iron Aarakocra.
Iron
Yeah.
Aarakocra, yep.
This needs to happen.
I gotta work that out, because, I mean, I know it sounds good, but those Armorer gauntlet attacks, they kind of feel bad when it's your only weapon, but I'm gonna see if I can make it work.
So with that being said, we are at about the hour and a half. We're actually exactly at the hour and a half mark. Rob, do we have a science corner?
Sure. Actually, I read about what you told me about. They found a meteor that hit Earth that's actually from outside our solar system. One of only 3 interstellar objects that have entered our solar system that we know of, and one of them crashed to Earth. But it's pretty interesting. They're studying it now, and it comes from outside the solar system.
Yep.
That means they found new elements in it or something?
It actually crashed into our atmosphere like a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I guess they're just now finding more and more new things out about it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've I don't know how they can tell. Like Donnie said, I don't know if they've found any new elements or anything like that. But how would they be able to tell if something came from outside of our solar system, specifically?
It would it's hard to it's not really hard to explain, but it takes a lot to figure it out, but because of the way our sun is, most of the things in our solar system are affected by the sun's radiation in the same way, but because this has different radiation signatures, it can tell that it's not from within the solar system.
So it's been affected by another type of radiation that's...
Or affected in a different way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Or the levels of radiation aren't as high as other objects in our solar system that have...
Yeah, things like that, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, I said something smart for once. I'm all happy. I got this big shit-eating grin on my face now. Man, I feel like the smartest man alive. Frost giants are real, people.
Also, I read an article that says the universe is getting hotter instead of colder, like was predicted.
Goddamn frost giants!
Frost
run for your
giants
lives!
are gonna die. Yeah.
Run for your lives! Jesus. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to do our outros here. Donnie, I'm not even going to ask you because you're going to give...
Everybody knows it's at Jax Forest Walker, all one word. What happened?
Ryan, where can people find you on the internet? Go ahead and promote whatever it is you want to promote. How's that?
I mean, I don't really tweet, but...
We can share mine.
Crimtastic on Twitter.
Okay, what about your Twitch?
Give your Twitch, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Crimtastic on Twitch also.
Now, what kind of stuff do you normally Twitch?
Well, my neck, Webby. No, but
Me too.
Up until a couple of weeks ago, I was playing Pokemon ROM hacks, and then I got really mad, and now I'm playing Lego Star Wars.
Are you ready?
Nice.
That's that guy's catchphrase. So anytime you hear that in D&D, just start looking around.
Just gonna get up and walk away.
Are you ready? Let's just fucking Misty Steps somewhere else.
Bye.
She banishes herself.
He's going to be a steel defender with a giant Pokeball as his steel defender.
Oh, Webby, you think I have banishment?
Oh, well, yeah. All right, so we already did Donnie. Give him my shit out.
No,
Rob.
that's dibs.
You can find me on Twitter at Confessor_X and on Twitch at twitch.tv/ConfessorX.
And as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Jax Forest Walker, all one word, on Twitch
Liar.
at DM Webby, and on eBay at Looking for Devin while pooping in Donnie's shoes.
Look at that. Look up.
Is that a preview? Is that a preview?
Gotcha.
Is that a preview of what's to come?
Maybe you're gonna be coming and visiting soon. Maybe I'll have to poop in your shoe.
How much? You still haven't found the kitty litter.
Listen, you're right.
What?
All
Just
right.
everyone, just look up Donnie Bronner on Facebook and send him
Son
all the
of a-
friend
Oh
requests.
shit! Full name and all. I've never even done that to you, Donnie.
Friend requests.
Make sure
of
it's me and not my father.
Yeah.
Probably
I've
one
made
of-
that mistake that I'm surprised your dad hasn't talked to you about. Anyway, Ryan, so we have a little thing on this. I talked to you a little bit earlier about it. We usually sign off with a big old fuck Booster Gold. I was wondering if maybe you could sign us off with a big old fuck Booster Gold.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck Booster Gold. He looks like a dumbass.
Yeah, fuck that guy. The outro music's playing. Feel free to talk through it.
His special power is thievery.
It really is. Ryan, so I don't know if you know anything about Booster Gold, but he's from the future. He worked at a superhero museum. He stole a bunch of superhero tech and then traveled back in time to solve crimes that were already committed to gain fame.
All right.
Wow, he sounds like an asshole.
Yeah,
So
he's
to
a
save-
big old douchebag.
To say Webby, are we still recording?
Yes.
Not anymore.